Hello, hockey fans. The Minnesota Hockey Connection show is on the air. We're at PACT-TV Studios, downtown Duluth, City Hall, and it's Monday. It's March 24th. So we got Bulldog here, Director of Operations, Christian Koelling. And thank you for coming, Christian.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me, Jay.
Yeah, Director of Operations. That's a big title. What exactly does a Director of Operations do for the UMD Bulldog men's hockey team?
Well, I wear a few hats. I guess probably the easiest way to explain it would be I spend a lot of time on the business side of the program. From the hockey side, I oversee the video and technology. In addition, oversee the logistics and the team movements. So I guess an easy way to put it would be is I try to do whatever I can to make sure Coach Sandelin can focus on coaching the hockey team and try to take care of the rest.
Great. So, I mean, you handle everything. When you say different hats, you do the traveling, you do finance, the budget, and everything?
A lot of it. I mean,
and you do scouting too.
Not so much anymore.
At the games.
Yep. My responsibility, or a big part of my responsibility during the game is being upstairs and being in communication with the bench, and
right.
And obviously with challenges and reviews now, that's become a little more intense up there.
Right, and you got a good guy upstairs with you, Billy Watson.
Oh yeah.
He knows the game.
He sure does.
He played the game out, and he was one of the tops at
Absolutely.
UMD all time. So you've been up here since you came out of high school, right? You came to college here?
I did.
And then I remember you coached in Duluth Central, right?
Mm-hmm. Prior to that, I was with the Duluth East Youth Program for 5 years.
Wow.
And then Central for 3, and then on to UMD.
Wow. What year did you start at UMD? Do you remember?
2008, 2009.
Oh, so you've been all 3 titles.
Yeah, I'm fortunate enough to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And a lot of memorable moments, and certainly a lot of great student athletes that have come through the program.
Yeah, I remember, you said 2008, UMD was kind of struggling back then. And it was which way are we going and that, and all of a sudden things started changing, and boom, you've been one of the top teams in the whole college hockey for the last 15 years. I mean, so that's great for Duluth and for UMD and for everyone, I guess, for hockey itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's fun to watch when you see good teams. I was down at Frozen Face-Off this weekend in Denver and Western Michigan. Boy, those are 2 good teams. And you played both of them in your conference. And
there's no easy night in our league, that's for sure.
And I was looking at their records and that, but I was looking at the games they lost. Western Michigan only lost 7 games this year, but 4 by 1 goal and 3 by 2 goals. In Denver, until Saturday night when they lost in the championship in overtime, they had 10 losses. 8 were 1 goals, and 1 was 2 and 1 was 3. So, I mean, those are 2 solid teams in that, and I wouldn't want to play them in regions right now.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both pretty good teams, and you know Denver, they're going to be there every year.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you came up here, went to college, started working, coaching youth teams, and then high school, and then you came over to UMD. So, plus you've been, I remember many years ago, you were a big part in USA hockey up here and Minnesota hockey and doing camps and all that. So, are you doing any of that anymore?
Yes and no. So I'm no longer with USA Hockey or Minnesota Hockey. I was also on the DAHA board for 8 years, so that was a good experience. I run some camps in the summer. I'm highly active in coaching my daughter, who's a 10U, and I have twin boys that are playing mite hockey down at Portman. So I'm getting to see the game from that perspective, not only as a coach at the youth level, but also as a parent, and it's been a wonderful experience.
How old are your boys?
They'll be 7 in a couple weeks.
Oh, well, good.
Yeah.
So, what are the names? Your kids?
Reed and Karsten are my twins, and then Charlotte's my daughter.
Oh, good. Stay with hockey. We need more players in Duluth, and we need some elite players. So
yeah, they love it, and you know, I'm not worried about them being elite players, but I do know that the one thing that you need if you want to be elite is you got to love it. So
Yeah, you love it.
they
You
got
want to
that.
be out there all the time.
Yep, they got that piece
So-
of it. So
And one thing, being out in Portland, young kids, outside hockey, and just hope the weather gets better for hockey. It's been weird this last 5 years, it seems to me. Either too much snow or it gets too hot. But
yeah, definitely, and that kind of puts a little more stress on the need for another indoor facility.
yeah, I was Ryan Sandifer, the president of DAHA. He said probably we need 2 rinks to really help out. And I hope, and they got a committee now looking into all that, and hopefully that can come around and some money come in. And I even told Ryan, with all the money that comes in with these youth tournaments, maybe the city of Duluth should share.
Yeah, I'm hopeful they will. I mean, it certainly helps the tourism.
Right.
And not only that, but it's an investment in our youth, and it builds community. And I think that's something we need now more than ever, and hopefully we can make sure we keep hockey thriving. Certainly, I don't want to see the outdoor hockey go away. I think we need to protect that and fiercely defend that and keep that. But we also need, with the unpredictability of that, so we need to be able to
Right.
have some indoor options.
Right. So there's a lot of problems coming up with hockey to me. And let's just start with the college. Okay, a couple years ago, they started the portal, and these kids come in 1 year and they leave, and now the NIL. And then the third thing now, they just passed major juniors from Canada can come in now and go to college, so that's gonna really change the whole system, I think, in Minnesota community hockey and the juniors. I think the North American, this is my opinion, North American League's gonna have a real hard time having so many teams. Their level's gonna go down. The USHL, I think, will be more like the North American Hockey League, where they'll have 2 good lines and 2 that'll be so-so. And I don't know. I think they'll come down and be talking to these parents and young kids at an early age, and I don't like that part at all. But what's your view on all this going on?
Well, he gave me a lot there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of changing going on, and I think the jury's out to see what will happen. I mean, with the major junior decision, that certainly expands the player pool for college hockey. I think overall it probably will be a good thing in a lot of ways. As you said, though, I don't know how it'll affect some of those junior leagues, those American junior leagues. But what we do know is we know college hockey is a better development path than anything else that's out there. So I think allowing those major junior players to extend their development is certainly good for them, and potentially will help college hockey just have a better product. I mean, my hope would be is that with the expanded player pool, you start seeing more teams jump on and start Division I hockey programs.
Right.
That would be great, because if that was the case, then maybe some of those negative effects that you brought up that could potentially happen at the junior levels, maybe that wouldn't happen. Right. If there's more opportunities to play at the Division I level.
Yeah, I talking to a few people, a couple coaches this weekend, and even they said that some of these teams, I guess Omaha and I think it was Northern Michigan or something, were picking up these major juniors already. Mm-hmm. I mean, that fast. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a crazy world out there.
Yeah.
So you're a director of operations, and so you know where the money's going. So you got a recruiting kind of budget. So now with major juniors, are you going to basically watch streaming and get your view from other people in hockey and stuff, or are you going to have to go up there a lot?
Well, I'm not going to go.
No, not
I'll
you.
tell you that
not
much.
You, but your scouting staff or coaching. And
our
that.
assistant coaches handle the recruiting, and they do a great job. I think it's multifaceted. So one with the introduction of technology and the advancements of technology and video, we're able to get a lot more views on players, so where we don't have to go up there. I think in-person viewings are important. I think getting to know the recruit and developing a relationship is extremely important. So I think video will be used, but I also think, our coaches will be up there if they let them in the rink.
Yeah, right.
That's the question. If those major
funny.
junior teams let them in the rink.
That's funny.
But yeah, they'll be up there. And then another big part of the recruiting, which our coaches do a great job, and our whole staff chips in at times, but just having those conversations with coaches and people that know those players.
Yeah, I always in life, I always tell people, get an education, but it's who you know, not what you know. And they can help you a lot. People
Certainly
you know.
True, yeah.
So, like you say, relationships. But going back, you're saying that you think more teams will come into college hockey and that. And I was just reading something in Southern California. I have a good club team, and I know Iowa State for years has. I can see them thinking down the line.
Well, that's my hope.
They got to build a stadium before
Yeah.
they can even get in. But look at St. Thomas is coming in your league, the NCHC, in a couple of years, and they're getting their stadium, and it should be ready as now. They say it's be ready for next season for them, and they'll be in the following year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to help a lot. Another local team traveling and that. And plus, I think it's for high school. There's nowhere to go for section. Amsoil is the biggest event place, where, and we pay, it was great
Yeah,
to
great
see that this
atmosphere.
year.
Yeah.
That single A game with Hibbing and Hermantown, and Cloquet and those teams, that was crazy.
Yeah.
For single A, I've never seen it that good. And I was always talking that hockey's going down up north, and that was great to see. And a lot of young kids, and their best players in a lot of these teams were young.
Yeah.
That's crazy too, to me.
Yeah, unfortunately, when those games are happening, usually we're out of town.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it is great to see, and it is. I guess it depends on the matchup sometimes and who you get, but it's fun when you see like Hibbing come down and you swear the whole town is at Amsoil Arena. So.
Right, I remember a lot of years where on the finals and 7AA, that teams would come in to play you on the weekend, and they come in Thursday, and everyone's at the game then looking at these players and that, and they were just what the hell? Look at the crowds.
Yeah.
I wish we can have this in college.
Right.
The spirit and everything. So good to see hockey still surviving up here, and it's a little different now, where up north we just can't do the same things what they do down in the cities. I'm thinking there's probably about over 20,000 kids that are playing hockey all year round with camps, all these different MAP and breakaway and you name it, all these different ones. And they play all year round. And that's going to cost over $10,000, not counting the equipment. And they can't do that up here because the money's just not there to do that. And the distance people have to travel and that. So how do you think we can keep on competing with these Twin City teams?
Well, numbers is number one, right? Whenever you look at a program that's successful, they have numbers. At least a homegrown program that isn't attracting kids in after they've been developed. So just promoting, making the game as accessible as possible, and trying to grow our youth numbers. I think that is a big part of it. And then just doing a good job developing the kids, teaching them the right things at the right time, and focusing on skill development and fostering a love of the game. And as they get older, I think, then that's when you can increase the intensity and the frequency of playing as well. So I don't think it's anything magic about it. I just think down in the cities, they just have so many kids. And I think that's probably a big part of a big part of why there's kind of that perception that it's a lot better. But I just think they just have their numbers are huge. So
Yeah, it's amazing. I was talking to the Daha president, and we were talking. I says, I've been around 35 years. Not last 25, I'm seeing 400 games a year, and half of that's high school. And I look and I see by default a lot of Bantam games and Pee Wee games because in between periods the other rink is having a game. Mm-hmm. And so I'm talking to these young coaches and that, and like you said, the best programs has numbers like Edina, Moorhead, Minnetonka. And I asked Ryan, wouldn't it be best that you guys go down there and see what they're doing that's so successful? Because I'm sure they'll help you. They used to. I remember many years ago, here, the Daha went out to Moorhead and back in the early days and that. Mm-hmm. So I think we should do more of that. And then, because with the money, parents don't have the money up here like down in the cities. 25,000 is not many people when there's 3-4 million.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, but up here it's a little different. So I think you got to keep the fun in the game and make these kids rink rats, but you can't force them to go out after practice and inside, to go skate. Where the kids that really make it in this game up here are out there all the time. Mm-hmm. I remember Coach Randolph's kid in Toninato at UMD, and Olson and Mearsmore and Rapinski. And
Yep.
They're after practice, they're out in the rink.
Mm-hmm.
Every Sunday they're playing,
Yeah, I was talking to Scotty Prunovich a month or two back. We were talking about my boys and my daughter in youth hockey, and I said, "Hey, you got any tips for me? I'm coaching them, Scotty. You got any tips?" He goes, "I got one." He said, "Send them to the rink, and if they stay out till the lights shut off, it was a good day."
They're having fun then.
Yeah.
You got to keep the fun with them. Yeah. Sometimes when you get organized, like even going to a tryout, a lot of these high school parents come to me and say, can you get my kid? Hey, you can get into almost anyone. But I would say if a team needs forwards next year and your kid's a forward, I would go to that camp before I go to one that doesn't really need any forwards or one or two. And I said, but just do it once, because there's going to be 200 kids at these tryouts, and you're going to see them 15 minutes at the most,
Yeah.
So just go have fun and see how it works, because I don't want you to spend too much of your money.
Yeah.
So, okay, back to the game. So you've been around this game a lot. Is there anything that you wish would change in youth hockey?
You know what? I don't really have anything that sticks out. I think things will always change, and things have changed over the years, and it's debatable whether things are better or worse. I do think a big thing I would like to see change is, you have, and this is more particular for younger kids, is you have baseball, you have lacrosse, you have soccer, you have hockey, the list goes on. You have choir, you have robotics. It would be great if, and I'm saying this more as a parent, it would be great if all the groups kind of played well in the sandbox together. I don't think they don't play well, but I just don't think there's any coordination. And the reason why I say that is if everyone kind of got on the same page, it would allow for our kids to be multi-sport athletes easier.
Right. That's the way it was back.
There's so much overlap in the seasons. There's just scheduling, and part of that's just facility restrictions, but scheduling will be done where everything conflicts. And so I think it would be great if we could define seasons a little better, and
Right.
And especially for 12 and under, right?
Right.
Especially for that younger group, to make sure that we're giving them opportunities to play many sports rather than putting them in a position where they have to choose at 10 years old,
Right.
A sport over another.
Yeah, I believe in that too, that multi-sport athletes. And up here, I think there's a lot more than in the Twin Cities. They get, if you're anywhere close to being good, you gotta go to these camps and stay up with the Jonesies almost. It's kind of sad.
Well, yeah, it's at least the perception.
Yeah,
but-
right. And you'll find out who's who. But it's kind of funny. These parents don't see this, but people that are recruiting that, and now they look at these kids when they're peewees, and it's crazy to me, but that's just the way it is. But they know these kids when they're 10, 11 years old now almost. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah, and I don't know how good of a predictor of future success it is when the kid's 10 or 11,
But there's always that, I say there's a good 10% that they don't get going until they're 15, 16 and get someone to put a fork in their butt, you know, and see the talent that they don't know they have and that, and get the confidence, and then get chemistry with your teammates. And I mean, it's a long process, but if you don't stick with it, it's going to be very hard to make it in sports or even in this world, I think.
yeah, and I think everyone's path is different.
Right.
I mean, some kids will be the front runners their whole way through, and you'll see other kids that develop later on, and I just think everyone's path is their own.
Yeah, like in high school, a coach once told me, Jerry, let's say I got 21 kids on the team. 7, I don't have to tell anything to. They just do it. Then there's 7 that takes half a season before they start seeing it, and then they're doing it. And then the other 7, no matter what you say, what you do, they're not going to do it. And that's just the way life is.
Yep.
So nowadays it's a lot different. We didn't have phones, and these phones and everything, these kids, they almost half these kids want phones on the bench, I think. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, hey, let's not kid ourselves. Phones are problems with adults too, not just kids.
Right. You ever go to a restaurant and sit on the table and then everyone around you, and you don't hear any noise talking and that? Everyone's on their phones.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. So how's UMD recruiting? Is it getting harder and harder?
Well, like I said earlier, probably the best people to answer that question would be our assistant coaches. They're the ones in the trenches.
Right.
I don't know. I think it's always hard. I think it's always been hard. I think, obviously having local kids is great for us. If you look at our roster right now, quite a few local kids, and that's been great over the years, even if you back up in previous seasons. And we've been able to fill a good portion of our roster with kids that have grown up dreaming of being a Bulldog.
Right.
And that's a great thing. That's a culture we want. We want kids that care about what it is to be a Bulldog, not just coming in for a stop on their journey and one stop on their path to the NHL. I mean, certainly we want guys to go to the NHL, but we also want players that really care about being a Bulldog and really care about being a part of this community. And, I think we've done a good job at that. I think we've done a good job of getting the right people in.
It's kind of funny how many Canadians come down here and play Bulldog hockey, and they stay here after. That's pretty nice. They must it grows on you. That community and everything, they love it here.
Yeah, it's a great community, and I think that speaks for itself. Like you said, how many players will come in to play for our team, and then, they may go and play for a little bit after, but a lot of them end up back here, even some of the more recent ones.
Yeah, that's nice. So, do you follow? You got a lot of players that are out in the National Hockey League still. Do you follow them a lot?
Yeah, I do. So I'm kind of like a free agent when it comes to who I cheer for hockey. It's basically, if it's, I kind of got to go with the Wild because they're the home state team. But I took my daughter down when they played the Kings, and Mikey Anderson was playing.
Mikey Anderson,
and then I brought my
Hill
boys.
Murray. I watched him at Hill Murray. Then he went out in June USHL.
Yeah, and then I brought my boys down when they played the Winnipeg Jets. And,
Sandberg
was out, but I think Iafallo had 2 goals and Pionk had 2 assists, so it was a good night.
Kate's at Philadelphia. There's a whole bunch. I mean, I just go on and on. Yeah, when I go I do a lot of the Wild games, and I'll take pictures of every Minnesota kid because I've most of them I've seen 30 to 60, 70 times, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
And so I like to, then I put it on Facebook or something under my name.
Yeah.
But it's pretty neat seeing these players and all good. And what is amazing to me is the money these kids are getting paid now. It's just amazing. Sandberg and Piant are up for, most of these UMD players are up on their unrestricted free agents. So they can,
Yeah.
so if the teams want them, they're going to pay.
Yeah. Well, you think they're making a lot? Just look at basketball. So.
I don't know. What's a basketball?
Yeah, right. But yeah, I mean, career window can be short. So I guess it's good that they're compensated well, and it's fun to see our guys have that success.
So do you follow the regions now, since the Bulldogs aren't playing?
Yeah, I keep an eye on it. It's hard to watch, but
Yeah.
I do keep an eye on it.
Yeah, I go to all the regions, and it's going to be fun to see a lot of Minnesota kids and Minnesota State, and Minnesota State and the Gophers. But the Gophers, this is just, something's wrong with the system, how the playoff system works. They lose to Notre Dame, they're off almost 3 weeks.
Yeah.
That is going to be a mystery, and you can't use that excuse. Beat Notre Dame, you're better than them, you know.
Yeah.
But it's weird.
Well, and that's going to come into our league now too, because
Yeah, you're going.
we're going into home sites. So,
Right.
So instead of them having a championship weekend, it was
Right.
semifinal and final were separate weekends.
Yeah.
And pretty
So,
much a lot of
Yeah,
places do that.
it'll be interesting. But hey, it's what changes, like you said. Well, we're talking to Christian Koelling, director of hockey and men's for the Bulldogs, UMD Bulldogs, and he's been there for many years. And boy, it's just fun being in hockey every day, huh?
It is. It's great.
Yeah.
It's it's a great experience.
Well, thanks a lot for showing up and telling us a little bit about your job and the Bulldogs and youth hockey, and thanks for all your contributions to hockey in the Northland.
Thank you, Jerry.
Yeah, that'll be it at PACT-TV Studios. Thank you, Jim, Sean, Liz, for producing the show, and we'll see you at the rink.